The idea to board the Shonan Maru, it came after the sinking of the Ady Gil. I looked initially to get my whole crew onto the Shonan Maru and have them take them back to Australia. And under maritime law, if you're involved in any kind of collision, there's obligations that go with that. But that kind of fell through. It was just too hard to get onto the Shonan Maru during the day. And through the campaign, I just continued to look at how to possibly board and came up with this idea of boarding the vessel at night. And I had Larry Routledge, who was my right-hand man in Antarctica. We came up with this idea, boarded at night off the jet ski. It's a tricky mission to do because they're quite well protected. They've got these nets around the boat. They've got anti-boarding spikes. But there was one weakness in the boat. There was one boarding spike missing where the fender came down when they refueled, and they hadn't put the spike back. So it was, I can't even remember the date now. It might have been February the 13th or somewhere around there. And we left, and the time on the vessel was about 6 o'clock, but it was pitch black. It was like the middle of the night for Antarctica. We had these Generation 4 night vision goggles, and so that allows you to see in the dark. And we had about a third of a mile to move our way over, and then started trailing behind the Shonan Maru. Trailed it for a little while, just keeping an eye on it and just trying to get ourselves in position. And then as we came in on the first run, the battery in my night vision goggles went flat, so I ended up not being able to see, and it was pretty dark. And I did start to think it was looking less likely at that stage that we'd get on. But anyway, we made the first attempt. We smacked into the boat a couple of times, and I was worried that it would wake up the crew. Made my first attempt, got on the side of the boat, but I didn't time it right. And what happens is the Shonan Maru moves up and down very slowly with the swell, whereas we're on a jet ski and we're kind of bouncing along on these smaller waves. And on my first attempt, the boat was halfway down and I got on, but then a wave came over, swept me off. And I'd say that was probably the most nervous I was in my whole campaign in Antarctica, was sitting in the water. Larry never saw me fall, and he carried on for a bit. And the water, it was suddenly like deathly cold and super quiet, and this Shonan Maru disappearing. And then it took Larry a couple of minutes to find me. He came back, jumped back on. I remember saying to him, like, let's give it another go. And I remember thinking I only had a few goes in me. It was pretty difficult. And then on the second attempt, just got lucky and managed to get my hands on the net. I lost feeling in my hands, but got one foot on a little ledge, maybe about a 10 millimeter, half inch ledge. Got my one foot on there and just managed to cling on as the boat kind of rolled out and then back again. And then on the second roll, got my knife out, cut the net and jumped on. An amazing feeling. You know, I knew I'd made a little bit of history when I got on that boat. Just crouched down in the darkness and soaked it up for about 30 seconds probably. Got on my radio and I said, they never picked this up, but I said, the Kiwi has landed. And I tell you, it was a very special moment getting on board that Shonan Maru.